there was a lot happened there in that time lapse, and I'll go back and I'll kind of explain here what I got going. So made a lot of progress there. As you can see, the boat is now essentially the bottom of the hull is where it's going to be. It was actually a little bit more difficult than what I had anticipated on actually bringing everything together. That being said, making the cut with using the laser, man, it worked out perfect. You can see right there. I've got everything tacked, but it's really apparent from underneath there that sucker came together just beautiful. Came together real nice. So what I've done is basically I've brought the boat together. It's kind of more or less final resting place for now. So what I'm going to do now is I've got these 4" by 2" long pieces of tube, and these are going to act as kind of my strengthening stabilizers, kind of like what you see in they'll be my longitudinal strakes at the bottom of the boat. So you can see I've got this boat and I've got it tacked together probably about every foot, 14 inches or so, and I'm gonna leave it like that before I weld the thing up just solid, just because aluminum has such a tendency to warp and move around. I don't want to put a bunch of heat in one place until I get you know, everything kind of strengthened. So the next thing to do after a quick cleanup here is I had some help, and I took one of the pieces of 4 by 9 foot sheeting there and went to the back here and actually scribed the line for my transom. So I'm gonna build my transom out of 2 pieces of 3/16 sheet, and that's gonna be sandwiched between this 2" by 2" by 1/8" square tubing. Pretty thick, pretty beefy transom. I'm going to put just a little bit of a rake on the back, set it back just a little bit so it won't be so straight up and down. Get that motor in good clean water. A lot of work there to still do, but you know, the boat turned out really nice. The hull did anyway. Real happy with how it looks. 15 degrees in the back, so what that worked out to with the boat being this wide is I'm about 86.5 inches wide here in the back. I'm just over 6 foot wide in the front. I'm about 76 inches in the front. Naturally, these 2 corners will be cut off to create the front of the boat. I like that, where you know, you're gonna have a nice clean front there to the boat. Boat's gonna sit about 41 inches, 42 inches off the ground. So it's gonna be a nice tall boat. Ended up staying right around that 27 degree mark on the front end, which, you know, naturally is it's a lot shallower than that big V-bottom boat over there, but at the same time I've got a lot of width here in the front to play with. And you know, it's a 15 degree hull, 27 degrees in the front end. It should still break a wave, you know, pretty nice. Naturally, the more you bring this boat together, you lose your width very quickly. I just kind of roughed it in, and for every 5 degrees that I would bring this boat up, I would lose about 14 inches of width in the front. So you can see how quick you'll lose that width. So anyway, cool process bringing this hull together. I think it came together just excellent. I'm honestly not so sure that I didn't overdo it. I got this sucker pretty much exact lined up all the way through. Now naturally I've got a keel that I'm gonna weld in here, so you won't see much of or any of this, but I'm happy I took the time and got everything just right. So let me explain here what I'm doing as far as the transom. This is kind of important. It kind of sets the tone for the rest of your boat. So first off, make sure if you're building a 24, 25 foot boat in a 32 foot shop, you gotta have daylight, because I'm already out in the drive. Nevertheless, here's what I got going. I've taken this sheet, let me get somewhere where the glare isn't so bad. I've taken this sheet and I've held it up to the back end of the boat. And that line right there, you can see that line, I scribed. And I'm scribing all this real fine so you know, everything fits up real nice. Scribed a line, that line right there represents the bottom of the boat. Now I want this boat's transom, I want to build basically wave whackers into the transom. So now what I can do is, now I can go from there to there, draw a line straight up, however tall I want. I could make the back end of this boat 4 foot tall if I wanted to at this point. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to look at it and see how tall I'm going to be exactly, but I'm thinking I'm going to be somewhere in that 34, 35 inch range. So it'll give me a really nice tall transom. I don't have plans currently to put a kicker on the back of this. I've got more of a drift paddle idea. So I'll have plenty of room, and if in the future I want to put a kicker, I can always either cut down the transom or I can put some sort of a jack plate type deal on the back. But this is one way to completely square up your transom. Anyway, that's kind of what I got going as far as the transom. Now, since this is all straight lines, what I can do is I can take my worm drive saw and I can take a straight edge and I can clamp the straight edge down, make all my rips, and you know, they'll be really nice and true. I won't have to, you know, fuss with the jigsaw. So after much thought and you know, scribing things out and looking at things, I've got the base of where the transom is going to be cut out for the motor. Now traditionally, you know, as you guys have seen other boats, traditionally the boats just have a flat transom all the way across where the motor sits. Well, you know, do a lot of drifting, and this boat's made for big waves and big water, and I want to build built-in wave whackers basically. So what I want is, I just want a hole there in the center for the motor to sit in, and then I want really high sides all the way around. And you know, this'll basically prevent the waves from coming over the back. So what I've done was, and like I said, this is all personal opinion, but this is the way I set it up, so I'll share how I did. So what I've got here is, my boat is going to be 42 inches setting flat on the ground to the top of the nose. That's going to be the top. Now I want this boat to sit pretty level in the water. That's the whole idea. So what I've done is, I've measured up 42 inches and I've scribed a straight line. And that's going to be the top of my transom. So the boat is going to actually sit, the back of the boat and the front of the boat should be the same height if the boat sits fairly level in the water. There may be some variation, but this is kind of what I'm going off of. Now then, I've taken a bunch of different measurements, looked at different boats, different motors, everything else, and I've come up with, I need about 24 inches of space down the center to fit my motor in. This boat here is going to have a 200 horse tiller handle on it. So I've got to account for the tiller handle, as well as I'm going to put a jack plate on this transom and the motor that has a 4-inch setback. So I've also got to allow for that, because the further I set the motor back, naturally the longer the throw is going to be on the tiller handle.